Hey folks, Scott Rogan here, home cinema architect, checking in for Rogue Home Cinema. Now today we're going to talk about AV receivers, only the heart and soul of your entire home cinema system. So just a little bit important. Now these products actually do a number of things in the entire cinema system, which is why they really are the heart and soul. So let's go through some of the feature lists that are required of an AV receiver. Of course, number one is the AV switching. So we need to connect multiple source devices, Apple TV, Foxtel, Blu-ray, into the projection system. Something needs to manage the video. Now you can get dedicated video processors to manage that, like the Lumagen, but most of the time you're going to have a processor do the job. Now an audio processor then grabs the HDMI signal, decodes the HD sound or the audio codec, the Dolby Atmos, the DTS:X, all these amazing new sound formats, as well as the older legacy ones, and needs to convert this into the analog sound that the power amps will work on. So we got to decode the sound, we need to position the sound around the room, and we need to present that output towards the power amps. Now the power is very important. This is what actually physically drives the speakers. With an AV receiver, all of that is built in one. So it's the video switcher, it's the processing, it's also the power amplification, all in one box. So it has a very, very big job to do. Now the beauty of an AV receiver is they're very convenient, they're compact, and they're good value for money. You're buying one box to do lots of jobs, which is really cool. The disadvantages is it's, one of those things where it's jack of all trades, master of nothing. These are compromised from going all in one versus dedicated products. But don't worry, the people that do that are paying for the luxury. So there's no free lunch here. So one of our favorite amps here is the Anthem MRX series. This is the MRX 720. It is the heart of many cinema projects we've put together over a few years now. Now what makes Anthem quite unique is, well, their processing was what made them famous. They did some very high-end dedicated audio processors worth, $10,000 and upwards. So we know that their ability to process and grab resolution and convert that resolution into real sound aids for clarity, aids for dynamics, and it helps give more spaciousness of sound with a great processor. Now the other element is good power. So we need solid power in a system. So this AV receiver has 7 channels on board, whereas many amps in its similar price category might have 9, 11, maybe even 13. As of course, Dolby Atmos requires more and more channels. Well, the cool thing is this is actually an 11-channel processor, and it has 7 amplifiers on board. What does that mean? It means we can actually run 7 of the 11 channels off this machine, and then all you need is another 4 channels of power to maybe expand your Dolby Atmos or surround effects even further. So you're buying 11 channels of processing, you got 740 watt power amps built in. So it's quality over quantity with this unit all the way. The other cool thing is the EQ capability. The ARC system, which they've developed, is very nice. If you've got a standard room that hasn't been acoustically engineered or sorted, it's going to help for that somewhat. Or if you do have a room that's been custom engineered, then the EQ really is that cherry on top. Fixes up and touches up those final little bits of responses. That's going to give you a more smooth, deep, full natural sound without any weird echoes and hollows and things like that. Now look, EQ does not fix a bad room. It rather improves and perfects a good room. That's how and where we use it. Now they've got ARC 2 came out on a recent firmware update. This is really cool because the Anthem can have significant, and they do have significant firmware updates. So owners of this machine from say 2 years ago can firmware update, get the advantages of better control integration with like Control 4 that we use them with. We also have better HDMI sync or some new updates in HDMI. We also have the ARC 2 firmware or software upgrade as well. So existing Anthem customers can upgrade the firmware, get the new ARC, and either run that calibration process themselves if you're technically minded and don't mind getting on the tools and having a go, or of course book out an experienced calibrator to do the upgrade and tune up the system and get even more out of your existing Anthem. So I know other brands, they update year after year after year with the latest Spotify app or Bluetooth thing or more channels or something like that. The reality is this unit has HDMI 2.0 chipset, the latest HDCP, excellent processing, 11 channels of it, good power amplifiers. These are the things that are actually going to make your cinema room sound really great. Now there's no other part of the system that is responsible for great sound. So if you do want some sort of Bluetoothy Spotify 2 voice control thing, get that in a different product, and I wouldn't rely on your AV receiver to do that. I would rely on your AV receiver to do great processing, great power amplification as much as you can get, and obviously some good smart firmware. And if you can get some great EQ as well, that would be great. So all of that is in the MRX series. The MRX 7 has 7 channels on board. The MRX 1120 model has 11 channels on board. And the little 5 series is actually limited as a 5.1 system. So that's maybe more suited to a living area or an entry-level cinema. You're gonna have to go the 7 series and above to go for the super uber awesome Dolby Atmos and DTS-X soundtracks. So there's some insights as to what we look for in AV receivers and a feature on one of our favorite units we've been running for a little while now. I hope that gives you guys some great insight, and subscribe and learn more, and we'll share more about behind the scenes and what we're learning every day while we're trying to create the world's best home cinemas. Thanks for tuning in.